Okay, morning guys. Thank you for joining my channel again. I'm really happy to see you guys return. Um, do me a favor, like this video if you do like it, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm just here. This is a quick video. It's not gonna be long and drawn out. I'm just here in early morning vibes with my mum and my sister, and we're just gonna do a thing that we usually do. We kind of do this every time we're together, every morning. If we're around each other, we'll kind of look at current affairs, find out what's going on in the world, and just have a little discussion about it. So I just thought it'd be a good idea to make you guys join us, for a few minutes. All right. So, Maury, what's happening in the world today? This morning we've decided to talk about Jamaica and what's happening in Jamaica, because I think I've mentioned before that my parents, both Jamaican. My dad's passed away now. My mum, who's here with us, she was born in Jamaica. So although we were born here in the UK, most of our family actually still reside in Jamaica. There's only a small amount of family members in the UK. So the majority are actually in Jamaica. So we have an interest. My brother's there, We have my older brother who was born in Jamaica. He's there with his wife and family. So we still have an interest in all things Jamaica, So Maury, what's the current thing that we're seeing happening?
Well,
what's going on out there?
Apart from the crime,
which is very, very sad.
Road accidents that
Very,
they
very
just
sad.
can't understand.
My mum gets very upset. My
Why
mum's
so
nearly
much?
80, and she gets very upset when she sees and quite rightly, we all do, But she gets very, very upset about the levels of crime in Jamaica. She doesn't understand why that's happening, because in her time, Jamaica was a very peaceful place. A hell of a lot more peaceful, put it that way. All right? It wasn't perfect. Every country has its issues.
Yeah, definitely.
But my mum, wouldn't you say, Mum? Wouldn't you say?
It's hard.
It's hard to watch and observe. Yeah. Very hard to watch.
Very hard to not
Feel something.
to go there.
Right. So that's another element of
biggest
it.
element.
Yeah. It's the biggest. Yeah. It's the biggest issue for Mum, is that she would like to go there. She would like to visit her son and visit my brother and family and so on, and she's afraid, and I don't blame her. I'm afraid to go back there, which is such a shame.
So many people.
But I almost feel like that is the whole point, actually, to stop us going back there.
Yeah.
I think that we're looking at the surface of what's going on, and we need to look at the surface of what's going on, because it's very real. There's lots of crime, and people are killing and raping, and every crime, you name it, is happening in Jamaica on a daily basis. Just check I don't know where the murder rate is for this year, but the year just started and it's off the chain. So we have to, look at but I think if we look beyond the surface of it, I actually feel like the fact that we feel that, us abroad who would like to go to Jamaica freely and invest. We could go as tourists, Other nations go to, stay in the safety of a hotel compound, or stay within, the tourism type of thing. But we're actually, Jamaican descendants. We're Jamaican people, and we would like many of us abroad, would like to feel free enough to go there and invest and contribute to the the economy of Jamaica. This is what other nations do. We see Chinese do it, Asians do it, all the nations but we can't do it because we've got this crime element going on. And I feel like sometimes that is the whole point of it, that they don't actually want us to do that, because Jamaica, they don't want us to claim Jamaica as our own. Am I off the totally off the
Oh,
mark,
yeah,
or
right.
Totally,
I just feel like it's sad. Why is it
I
it's
just
funny.
feel-
Why can't we feel free to invest
um,
and be safe to go to Jamaica and
it's
do?
no longer the land of free, the free. Like
It's
it's
a land of
almost
murder now.
yes.
It's
land
a
that's
it's a
100%
murder,
land of murder,
murder, rape.
rape, and
The amount of examples of people leaving, lived and worked in America, want to go and retire back in Jamaica, and they do all of that, and then you hear that they've been killed. There's so much awful things, and these things ensure that people like me and my family stay poor. And sometimes I think that that's what the powers that be want. They don't want us to leave, and they don't want us to take ownership of any land. We just must always be landless almost.
Yeah.
We never really can say, this is ours and we are going to build on this. We just always seem to be begging a nation to stay there and have rights to be
like
there, and immigration, go through immigration. Well, we have lands, and beyond Jamaica, because even Jamaica, I don't even think we should even feel that way about.
Nah.
That's the point I'm getting to, really.
Nah.
That actually it's Africa we should be feeling
yeah.
that
And even
ownership about, actually.
and
Yeah.
even Africa now, they are. Even Africa, we look like we're gonna have to fight for what's really ours, and it's Africa. And every country wants a piece of Africa. Every country wants a piece of
Yeah,
motherland.
yeah. We know that, we know that. But I think, and I agree with you, but we need to take ownership of Africa. And I think we're fooling ourselves when we try to. And it's hard. It's so difficult because we love Jamaica. We are Jamaican descendants of Jamaica, but ultimately we have to remember what Jamaica really is. Jamaica really, as much as we love Jamaica, and we should love Jamaica, I think the answer is starting to look at the fact that Jamaica it's never going to be ours.
Never.
It never was ours, it's never going to be ours.
Amen.
What is Jamaica? Jamaica, apparently, according to our history, that we've been told, is that we were brought there as slaves to do this, that, the other, and there were indigenous people, they kill out indigenous people, all sorts of things. But ultimately, it's a land where we were brought to against our will, but it's become home, and we've now, we've claimed ownership. But really, when you look at it, when you look deeper than the surface of it, I'll give you an example. When they thought they found gold the other day,
Yeah.
it wasn't gold, and I'm sad that it wasn't gold, right? But they thought they found gold. Then you heard issues of the fact that, well, if it is gold, it doesn't belong to them anyway. It belongs to King Charles, because he's the head of state and this, that. So it's these types of things that make you realise that Jamaica isn't yours. Because if you find gold in your backyard, and I would advise, if you do, don't say anything. But if you find gold in your backyard, right, okay, it ain't yours.
Yeah.
So that means that the land ain't yours at Jamaica. You got a land title. It doesn't say you own it. It says you have a right to be on the land. There's no ownership. Yeah, go on.
Where does when we?
It's not really ours.
We're so. I have to go back. I think we're so programmed.
Yeah.
We've been conditioned.
Yeah, of course we have. Yeah.
Programmed. And this in brackets. That's what I've got to put it, because everything you got to put in a bracket.
Yeah.
And put a big question mark next to it. Jamaican independence.
Yeah. Well, that's a lie. We know that they're not independent. And the example I just gave tells you that you're not independent, really. So really, where do we belong then? We're in the UK. Yeah. Sorry, Mom.
It now belong to the Chinese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're coming to the Chinese because we know there's an issue with the Chinese and whatever, and it's a similar.
So we don't
It's a similar thing, you know. That the Chinese have loads of money, and they're able to lend everyone money and bail people. They've got loads of money, and they use money to potentially hold countries to ransom. That is potentially what I think and we think is happening in Jamaica, where we're hearing that the Prime Minister has borrowed money that he can't pay back, basically.
I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm allowed to say this, that he has sold out the souls of the people of Jamaica.
You think he sold out the
Oh,
souls
yeah.
of the people?
Yes.
Yeah, something's definitely wrong in Jamaica.
Something spiritual.
But I think that the solution to it is, and that's where we might be going wrong. Fighting for Jamaica is not necessarily the answer,
No, it
because
isn't.
I think it's already sold
It's
and
sold.
bought, and
It's
the
sold,
hammer's
bought.
been dropped on it
Yeah.
already, and it's gone.
It's gone.
And it's very painful to say that. And I know people would, but I think it's gone, man. If you're gonna come back to the subject, raising fares on poor people, right? The other day was car seats, yeah,
Can I just say,
which they
can
backtracked
we
on
go
that a bit,
actually
right?
back couple of
Yeah,
back.
sure.
Remember a couple year before last year they were saying, or I think year before last,
Yeah.
they were saying that Jamaica has the worst to do with their wages. Remember, before all this started, they were looking at the wages of Jamaican people and saying
What they
it's the worst
call
they've
it,
ever seen.
yeah. Electricity, I heard, is they are one of the most expensive electricity
So how can
services
how can
in the world.
you-
That is one of the
how can
most
you
expensive.
How can you keep raising these things
So
and you got one of the worst
you got the worst wages, or one of the
Yeah.
world's worst
How does that work?
salary, minimum. Was it minimum wages? Yet you're charging people the most expensive electricity and the most expensive. So it's almost like this. It's a setup. It's still a
slavery.
colonial
Yeah.
nation
Yeah.
I know the
that is not
Chinese-
independent. That was
Nah.
fooled into thinking they were
Yeah,
made
there's no way.
independent.
Nah.
The government is a Jamaican government working for somebody else. It's not working for the people.
Oh, no.
There's no way.
No
Your government. No,
way.
and don't get me wrong. Britain ain't no necessarily any better.
Nah.
I'm not. We're just talking about no. Some of these governments are not necessarily. But at least some will be held accountable. You can. There's some good examples of that in Britain, where if you as a minister or an MP doing something that you shouldn't be doing, it'll catch up with you, and you'll have to resign or whatever. You don't see that in Jamaica, is what I'm saying.
Did we hear something ridiculous like nobody, if you are a prime minister of a country, nobody can't look at your taxes?
Yeah, like for example, you can't be the prime minister of Britain,
No way.
and no one knows
No
whether you're a
way.
billionaire or not.
Nah.
No one knows about your
It doesn't
financial or whether there's any kind of like conflicts of interest going on.
Nah.
We need to know, because you're supposed to be up there working on our behalf for our interest. Whereas in Jamaica, clearly that is not the case.
And they're telling them 70 years.
70 years for what?
Before they can even look at
No, he's not telling them. He's going behind their back trying to pass some kind of legislation that would stop the release of any information about the things he's doing secretly. Something like that. So he's trying to hide what he's doing from the people, so that it wouldn't be exposed or be allowed to expose for another 70 years. Something dodgy like that. But ultimately, what I would say is that all of this corruption and dodgy behaviour is ultimately saying the same thing, which is, we're not working for you, we're working against you. It's obvious. That's why the people are suffering. That's why the people can't make two ends meet. That's why this is a government. Jamaica is a government that is clearly putting in place in a hurry as well.
I was going to say that.
They're really in a hurry
They're just going boom, boom, boom.
because he's delayed the election, so he's got more time now to put in place all these laws that you know about and many that you don't, to ensure that you become the slaves that you once were and still are. And I think that as long as we as African people are anywhere in the world apart from Africa, we will always be a slave.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say that they're not now in this time also enslaving other nations. We're not just the only slaves. So, you know, other nations are getting caught up in this kind of slavery transition. You know, where you have less freedoms and you're less choices and less say, and there's less places to complain about, and there's less, you know, everyone's getting caught up in that. So it's not just African people, but I do think specifically I'm just kind of talking to African people right now, which is, you know, really important to do, right? Is to, because this is the sad thing, Jamaican people, and again, not just Jamaican people, this Caribbean people, are they identifying with their African heritage?
No.
And that's the thing that I find interesting, because we who are of Jamaican heritage, born in the UK, appear to be, and I'm not sure if I'm right or wrong, but we seem to be, and African Americans as well, seem to be quicker to and more comfortable to acknowledge our African heritage.
Yeah.
Have I got that wrong?
No, you definitely got.
Because
that
I want to be wrong,
No,
you know, but there's something there I'm not sure. So I'm hoping that I'm wrong, and I'm hoping that Jamaican people, along with the whole of the Caribbean, start to connect with their African heritage and understand that really and truly, in reality, and this has probably always been the reality of the African, wherever you are in the world, you only have birthright, real birthright.
You have birthright
in Africa.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're born Jamaica, born America, born this.
In England,
you really, you will never be secure.
No.
Or accepted, or you can feel like you are in your mindset, but when you break it down, the laws and they're saying a totally different thing. And so while we're thinking that we are Jamaican, thinking that we are British and American and Canadian, and thinking that we're all these things, when actually we're Africans, we don't pay attention to Africa. But then you find that if you do pay attention to Africa, you realise that lots of other nations have been paying attention to Africa and are in Africa and free to be in Africa. They're under no real restrictions in Africa. They're not under any immigration real pressure running around as, you know, overstayers or anything. They're free will to be in Africa. In your backyard, while they're distracting you with your British citizen, American citizenship, when actually your birthright and your wealth and the wealth of the world, actually, I might stress,
hallelujah,
you're not paying no attention to. So I think I want to raise that. So when we talk about, let's go back to the initial question, which was they're raising bus fares in Jamaica, you know. Well, you know, there's more to come. There's more to come to distract you, to destroy you, to weaken you. And you're only going to combat that when you actually free your mind of all of that distraction. Because that's what it is. It's a distraction from the real issue.
Let me tell you a verse from Bob Marley.
Bob Marley.
He said, free your mind from mental slavery. Yeah? And that's what we need to do.
None but ourselves can free our... Something like that. I can't see.
Yeah?
None but ourselves can free our minds. Something like that. Yeah. Bob Marley was a great prophet.
Prophet.
So we know that anything that he said was great. You know. Anyway, that's that subject. So we're gonna come with another subject, and you share your comments in the comment section. Tell me if you think I'm right, wrong, or, you know, I'm crazy, whatever. Tell me what you think. Let's talk. Later. Take care. Thank you guys. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.